Hello, friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Roll. All right, I found another interesting little roadside attraction to look at today. It's called the Incinerator, and it's an old wood-burning incinerator that used to be in a furniture factory. And it kind of became a bit of an eyesore, and so a few years ago, somebody repainted it to look like a big, giant toy soldier. And there's kind of an interesting story behind the company, so I thought we'd go take a look at that today. So this is 5900 Franklin Avenue in Waco. Basically, it's right next to the 6th Freeway and across Waco Boulevard from the Richland Mall. Apparently in 1939, a company called the Smith Furniture Manufacturing Company opened, and depending on who you talk to, in either 1957 or sometime in the 60s, they moved to this location here, and they manufactured furniture here. And normally that wouldn't be that interesting of a vlog, but it's actually what happened afterwards that kind of became interesting. It was actually opened by a gentleman named Harry Smith, who started the company, like I said, in 1939, and moved it to here in either 57 or the early 60s. But the company went out of business in 2007 for a couple of reasons. First off, they began to get serious competition from China, and they just couldn't compete with that. They tried to kind of work with China a little bit, but by having China manufacture some of their stuff, but it didn't work out. The shipping costs were kind of killing them. And between that and in the fact that in 2007, the founder, Harry Smith, contracted a case of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which they thought, at the time was they were going to be able to deal with and treat. Turns out he died about 11 months later. His son, Mark Smith, and his daughter, Diana Smith, decided that it was just time to close the company down. And the place just basically remained empty for about 5 to 7 years after that. And there was an old incinerator behind the building that they used to use to burn the lumber that they were no longer using anymore, that they didn't need. There was a scrap from their furniture. And over the years, that incinerator kind of fell into disrepair and was just becoming an eyesore. So in November of 2014, an artist was brought in, and he repainted the thing. It had always been noted that the thing looked like a giant tin soldier. So this artist came in and decided to repaint the thing as a tin soldier. And that is what we're looking at now. This thing is about 79 feet tall, and actually has a face on both sides, so you can clearly see, he's looking at you when you're on the freeway. It's actually kind of funny because I drive by the 6th Freeway all the time and have never really noticed a thing. I guess maybe I'm just too focused on the road. But as soon as I discovered this thing in the Roadside America attractions thing, all of a sudden I looked off the side of the road one day, and there he is, staring at you. Now, this was all the furniture manufacturing store right here. And as I mentioned, there was a son, Mark, and a daughter, Diane. And Mark tried keeping the company going as long as he could, but like I said, in 2007, couldn't do it anymore. And the daughter, Diane, actually had another business in Waco that sold like clothing and home furnishings and stuff like that. And apparently that went bankrupt about 2 years ago when she retired. But this thing is still here, and check out this guy. This guy's massive. Does kind of look like an incinerator, doesn't it? Got up really close to this thing and decided I probably needed to stand back a little bit, because otherwise I can't fit it all into the frame. But as I mentioned, in 2007, like I said, Harry contracted non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and at the time they kind of thought it was treatable, but apparently he passed away about 11 months later. Now, his son Mark also had kind of an untimely death. It doesn't really say what happened, but unfortunately he passed away just a few years ago at the ripe old age of 38. Kind of a downer, I know. I don't want to go too much into that, but because this is the focus is this thing here. But you can see that kind of looks like it would have been an incinerator, right? You put all your debris in here, And it looks like they kind of blew some air in there to kind of keep the fires hot. You know, they said the reason they chose to turn it into a toy soldier like this, or a tin soldier, which they call the Incinerator, which is pretty cool, is because they always thought it looked like a tin soldier to begin with. Yeah, see, obviously the debris would have been thrown into here. Oh wow, you can still see inside of it too. Looks like it's probably just a place to party now. Looks like people go in there and have beers. Now, as I said, they kind of wanted the soldier to greet people on both sides, so they actually painted a face on both sides. So let's walk around the back of it. This is kind of the side here that faces the Richland Mall. But you go over to the other side here, and this is what greets people going down Interstate 6. Now, fortunately, this is kind of an employee parking lot back here, and they say no one back here except employees. Fortunately, I'm here on a Sunday, and the place is closed, so... And all the signs and stuff I saw around here said, yeah, it's free to access. You just got to go back there, so... Just seems like a good day to do it, because there's nobody really back here. The only people I've really seen back here are like people that are jogging around it. I've seen a couple people come up here while I've been trying to be here, trying to see if the store was open, but it is not. And actually, as I get closer over here into the CrossFit place, and I'm guessing this is like an exercise place now, but I'm hearing music in there, so that's probably, that part of the store is open. This, like I said, this whole thing used to be like one big factory here, and I'm guessing now they've sold it out into little pieces. And so this is probably just this one little section here is this exercise place, and then the rest of it, there's a store up front and all that fun stuff. But yeah, check out this dude. Pigeons seem to like it. He seems like a happy fellow, doesn't he? Never know what kind of quirky things you'll find in your hometown. It's funny, when I was doing my research for this, I was trying to figure out as much as I could about the company and the history of it, and I found one guy had done a video on it, and when I sat there and watched the video, it was clear the guy was just clearly ripping off Justin Scard and Adam the Woo, so I figured I had to kind of come out and do my own take on this thing. Now, it was interesting, when I was looking up this place, I saw some people talking about it as a geocaching site, and when I was looking here closer, I kind of found what might be some like geocaching or treasures here to be found. That actually looks like a lottery ticket, and somebody's been painting some rocks in here, painting bricks, and glued some pebbles and some stuff to cardboard in here. They even left their nail polish here. Let's check that out. Kind of a weird little plastic horse thing. And a spent cigarette lighter. Yeah, doesn't light anymore. So I'm not going to really do anything with the geocaching here. I'll just leave that for whoever's looking for that. But I did find that funny that that was in here. I had to take another look and just see get a better handle on what was in here, and that's what I found. So like I said before, it was kind of interesting to me that I had driven by this thing like literally 1,000 times and never seen it, and all of a sudden I look it up on the Roadside America site and see mention of this 79-foot tin soldier called the Incinerator, and all of a sudden every time I drive by the area on the freeway, it's like, oh yeah, there he is. So I just decided, you know, we had to come by and check this thing out. Always little quirky things that you can find in your hometown if you just look hard enough. So anyway, I think that is all that I have today. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.